Hello, this is Ryan, and this was the Burn Podcast. I had done some research on other podcasts and realized that the name The Burn was already taken. It kind of stinks, but it is what it is. Again, I gave you the reason why I chose that name, and that's on me for not doing some research before. So, on that note, I would like for y'all to help me out with a new name. I've been trying my best to think of a new one, but I'll be honest with you, I'm not very creative. So I'm going to open up to y'all, and you can either message me personally or put it on my YouTube video or anything really. Just any suggestion is greatly appreciated. And the person who comes up with it that I end up deciding will get a shout out on next week's podcast. If I was capable of giving away something, I would, but currently that's all I can do. So hopefully a shout out will be enough for you to give me a suggestion. So, with that out of the way, today's podcast will be on happiness. And I know that that's a tough word for many people, including myself. And I'm going to try my best to tackle it in 1 week. I might end up doing it to another week, but I'm going to try my very best to do it just this week. So, happiness is something that something that everyone feels at some point, but often loses it for a number of different reasons. These reasons could be for someone else hurting them, things not going well for them in school, or they just aren't happy with the way that life is going. And that is something that is really sad, but it happens. Life is will spit you out or chew you up and spit you out in a heartbeat, but you just got to keep moving forward. So, without but the thing is without sadness, you will not realize what true happiness is. And while this may seem pretty backwards, it is true. So, what I mean by this is people who have seemingly great lives will be very happy for short spurts of time. You'll see them on a jet ski having a good time, or driving this car on having a good time, or going to an amusement park and having a good time. But when it comes down to it and they go to sleep at night, 95% of the time they're not that happy. That's why you see celebrities and people who have gobs of money sad, and you wonder how in the world could that even be possible? Well, that's why. So, but you see people who have bad days all the time or who are homeless that something so simple can make them very very happy for a long time. And this question or this observation is kind of hard to realize what's exactly going on, but they're thankful for the small things. And people who have a lot of money who don't realize everything behind it oftentimes aren't very happy because they didn't work for it, they didn't work hard for it. And that is one of the biggest issues with happiness portrayed in society today. So, and you know, happiness isn't always about money or about what you have. Sometimes happiness is just determined on not by how we feel, but what someone else does or how they feel about us, which is a hard thing to think, but it's the truth. So this is something that I challenge everyone to try and get away from is don't rely on someone else to try and create happiness for you or to make you realize how happy you can be. Because quite frankly, if you're not happy with yourself, or you're not happy with the situation you're at right now, when they say the smallest things, you're going to get set off by it, and it's going to end up hurting you in the long run. And again, I know this isn't an easy thing, and I hope that you realize that I do understand happiness is hard, but hopefully that after listening to this, things might be a little easier in the future to not be so hard. If that makes any sense. So I once saw a quote and it kind of changed my life when I really thought about it and understood exactly what was being said by it, because it's a kind of a long one, so stick with me, but it's something that I believe can really help, and if you can think about it this way, it can change your life too. Here's the quote. So you have $86,400 in your account, and someone stole $10 from you. Would you be upset and throw all of the $86,390 away in hopes of getting back at the person that took your $10? Or move on and live? Right, move on and live. See, we have 86,400 seconds in every day, so don't let someone's negative 10 seconds ruin the rest of the 86,390. Don't sweat the small stuff. Life is what it is. What is being said here is that you should not let small things in your day ruin the rest of it. And while, a situation may not seem small to you, it really, when you take a step back, it can be something so small that you sit there and let alter your entire day. And again, I understand that it's hard to let it go, but if it's possible to let it go and without obviously hurting you or hurting someone else in the future, it's best to just let it be. And I'm a very money oriented person, so this is why this quote really sticks to me, because it really puts in perspective how many seconds you have in a day and how a small thing shouldn't hurt the rest of that day. So I myself struggle with this all the time. But when I self reflect and realize what is putting me in a bad mood, it helps me to get out of what put me in that mood. And again, I want to make sure that it's very clear that everyone knows that I do understand that happiness is not an easy thing, even through extensive work. But I do not think that it is impossible. So some steps that I have found that helps me is to do some self-realization, go for a walk, enjoy nature, and make sure you are consistently either writing down or checking in on what you're thankful for. Some people might call checking in on what you're thankful for as gratitude. So when you do self-realization, you take a step back from a situation and really think about what is making you upset in that given moment. This is hard to do since oftentimes it starts with you seeing what you are doing wrong and to try and make the whole situation better. What I mean by this is if you're the one that is causing someone else to get aggravated or for someone else to react a certain way, that's an issue on you. Now, while you may think it's an issue for them, it's an issue for you too. So when you self look at yourself and think, hey, what have I done in this situation? It hurts because oftentimes it means that you have to sit there and say, hey, I did something wrong. But it, in turn, can make that situation and future situations better. So if you can do this, it often makes things on the outside that you cannot control not hurt so bad. And again, this is something that seems kind of weird, but if you do everything you can and you take a step back, realize what's happened, and try your best to make sure that everything's perfect and things still don't go your way, then you've done all you can. And at the end of the day, you can sit there and say, you know what? I did all I can and it just didn't work out. So next thing is going for a walk. And it is so beneficial for so many ways. And this is because when you're walking, it helps you physically and mentally. So the physical aspect is obvious, but the mental is a little harder to see. What I mean by this is when you're walking, it allows you to take in your surroundings and make sure you think about things you normally do not think about. So I personally listen to the Norse Mentality on Spotify, And the other day he was talking, and it's something that really struck me as odd because it was about a nature. It's about something where you need to go out in nature and do this, and how nature can help you. And to be honest with you, I almost skipped it because I quite frankly have been hiking and been in the woods, and it to me is miserable. Again, you have your opinion, but I prefer to stay where I'm at. I look to try and in the future get out again and try it again, but past experience has shown me that I just it does not create very much happiness for me. But anyway, when I was listening to this podcast, he had mentioned that there's studies shown that when you are walking, one of the most beneficial things that are happening is you're looking around. And while this seems something completely off topic, it really has a lot to do with it. So when you're walking down the street and you hear a bird, you look. And then you see a stop sign, you look. And so you're looking left and right, and up and down, and constantly moving. This is something that you normally don't do because you have a phone in your hand that's 5, 6 inches away from you, and that is what you're used to. And phones obviously have been proven to be bad in the long scheme of things for mental health. And again, I have an issue. I try my best to stay off my phone as much as possible, but I'll admit it myself. It's really hard to get off of sometimes, especially in certain situations. But if you go on a walk, you're almost forced to get off your phone or else you're going to end up getting hit by a car or falling and tripping off the sidewalk. Which, if you want to do that, you can do that. But I strongly advise not to. So there's a psychologist that I'm not 100% sure the university, but I know it's one of the big time universities that had realized that her patients, whenever she told them to go for a walk, would be mentally healthier. And what she found was she tried to make it to where she can do it and go for a walk, but in her room. And what she ended up doing was moving her finger left and right consistently and trying to have you bring out the situations that has hurt you in the past. And she found that it helps a lot because, like I had mentioned, when you're looking left, right, up, down, and constantly looking out into the distance, it frees up your mind to be able to actually think and to settle down and go through the situations that have been causing you hurt and anguish and pain in the future, in the past, and possibly in the future. So this is why I suggest walking. So I'm gonna move to being thankful. Being thankful is something that oftentimes never happens. And I'm not gonna sit here and say that people don't say thank you and stuff like that, but they oftentimes do not think about what they are thankful for around them. This is because we live in a society where people post their accomplishments and feel good about themselves because they get likes on the post or comments or retweets or shares. And while they feel good, and that's what they're meant to be, but sadly people rely on that and people have began to, hey, if I don't have instant gratification for what I just did, that means it wasn't worth it. That means I didn't do what I needed to do, or I can't be happy with myself. So this is pretty bad, and this is one of my opinion biggest issues with happiness in today's society. And moving forward, I suggest to write down at least once a day or think about at least once a day what you are thankful for that day, that specific day. Or if it's hard to do it for just every single day, try doing it once a week. Try doing it once every 3 days on, say, Monday, Thursday, and then either Sunday or Monday again. So I guarantee if you sit here and think about what you're thankful for and what really is making your life better, your life will quickly become much better, and you'll realize, hey, these small things aren't hurting me every day. It's me letting them get to me. So the things that you can be thankful for can be big things or small things. And for example, I tell my sister all the time that being able to walk up a flight of stairs is something to be thankful for, since there are many people who cannot. And it may sound kind of bad to say, hey, I should be thankful because I'm able to do something simple that people who are injured or can't do. But let's be honest, that's what you need to do. Sadly, there's going to be someone who has it worse than you that are happier than you, and that will ultimately change the way you feel. And that will ultimately be what makes you think, hey, why am I sitting here being upset? For example, my dad all the time says, whenever I go fishing, by the way, I'm not a very good fisherman. I try my best, and I really do enjoy just going out in nature and just hanging out there. So it's never a bad trip. But he always tells me, he says, hey, at least you're out fishing and not working. Because a bad day out on the lake beats a good day at work. And that is true. But it's hard sometimes to step back and think, hey, you're right. I should be thankful that I'm out there doing this. And some big things that you could be thankful for is a roof over your head, a good grade on a test, the people that are around you. It's so easy to take for granted the people that are around you and think, oh, they're gonna always be around me. And I myself have struggled with this tremendously, and sadly, it took a untimely death in my family to make me realize, hey, you need to be thankful for the people who are around you and make sure that they know that you're thankful for them. And I'm not sitting here saying call them every single day and, send them money or do tasks for them or do that. But the people who are around you, simply, if you call them once a week, if you send them that text and say, hey, thank you for coming to this, or anything like that, it can tremendously change their day. And I promise you it'll make you feel better in the future. And sadly, death is a part of things. And if the day comes that someone has passed away in your life, you're going to sit there and think about every time that you could have called them, or you could have talked to them, or you should have spent more time with them, and think, man, I really screwed up here. And sadly, at that point, it's over. There's nothing you can do. And I suggest this because, again, I've been through this, and that's what hits home harder to me than anything I think in my life has ever hit me. So, again, call that person, speak to them, text them, go over for a weekend. And I promise you're going to feel happier about yourself. And if not now, in the future. So, I challenge you for this week to either write down what you are thankful for or go for a walk for even 10 minutes, 3 days this week. I personally, and again, I give huge shout out to Norse Mentality. It's NORSE Mentality, if you're wanting to listen to them yourselves. But he had mentioned how every day he wakes up and he goes for a 20-minute walk. And to be honest with you, it took me about a month and a half to come to the conclusion of, hey, he might be onto something. Maybe this might be something I need to do. So I one day said, you know what? I'm going to do this. As soon as I wake up, I'm going to put whatever I need to put on and go for a walk. And I go 20 minutes for a walk every single day. I put my phone down. I bring it with me just in case anything happens. But all in all, there's nothing that distracts me. And to be honest with you, ever since I started doing that, it's changed my life and has made me feel better throughout the day. It's made me think about the things that were bad the day before that and allowed for me to move forward on that day. And it's simply just walking for 10 to 15 to 20 minutes. I don't suggest doing anything crazy, and I know there's going to be someone out there that challenges themselves and goes for a run. And to be honest with you, I hate running. That's one of the reasons why I don't suggest running. But for me, simply walking helps a ton. And again, it's not going to sit here and make you cut or make you crazy fit or anything like that, but it's going to help you mentally. And if you're okay upstairs, your body will follow. So again, I challenge you to either write what you're thankful for or go for a walk for even just 10 minutes, 3 days this week. And if you do this, please let me know how you feel afterwards and if it helped you. If it does, I look forward to hearing about it. If it doesn't, as always, let me know and I will try to change my challenge for you, and I'm sure that everything will be fine. So, with that being said, I'm going to wrap up this week's podcast. I appreciate you for listening, and I hope you have a great week this week. And something that I forgot to put in last week's, but I'm going to put in this week's, is I'm going to be posting another podcast Monday morning of next week. So please give it a listen. And every single week, I'm going to try my very best to have a podcast out at Monday at 12 a.m. 12 a.m. So you can start your day off on a Monday with that, or if you want to listen to it anytime through the week, feel free to it. So again, I'll be posting every single week, and as always, let me know what you would like to hear in the future and what you think I can improve on. I've got a ton of feedback and a lot of suggestions that I have in the works and I've been working on this week too. And again, just keep them rolling, and I really, really appreciate them. So thanks again for listening, and again, have a great week and goodbye.